Hello there, it's Kim again with Wild Rose and Pearl. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based out of the Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. And I'm coming here to show you a card I've made with the Jolly Delivery set, new in the Christmas catalog, for Stampin' Up! So we've got the stamp set here and die cuts. And it couldn't help this one. It's got these cute little critters coming to bring you your mail from the postman. From the North Pole. And so I just thought this was a really cute set. It appeals to dog lovers, cat lovers, and wild animal lovers. And then we've got a box that comes with the set as well. So this is kind of an extra bonus. There's also these little tabs here you can see. These are interchangeable. So you take these three little tabs here, you put it in here, and then it creates a closure for your box that is a circle, a heart, or a star. So yeah, there's a few die cuts in here as well to cut out some of your animals. Your animals can be cut out by making a die or a stamped animal and then cutting it out. Or there's designer series paper that matches this. So yeah, how about I bring that in, give you a little peek at the designer series paper too, because these are just so cute. Okay, so we've got these lovely little trucks here, and you can see the critters are in the trucks and they're delivering your stuff to you. I think you can get 21 trucks out of this paper here. This, of course, is the B side, but also not bad for a B side. Pretty nice B side of paper. Okay, so there's number one. Number two is where you start seeing the die cuts for your critters. So you can die cut out the dog that is facing going to the right, and you can die cut the kitty cat that is facing to the left. So you can cut out this kitty cat here or this dog here. So that's what you can cut out of this paper, or you can fussy cut the rest, but it gives you an option for you to do some of them without having to fussy cut, right? I did a class with this and I cut out the critters out of the two critter pieces of paper, as many as I could, and then everybody got to do one this way so that if they weren't coloring kind of people, that they could still make their beautiful card and use one of these critters. But yeah, the rest you would have to fussy cut out, okay? So, but look at all these cute, there's even a St. Bernard dog in there. Very cute, my daughter's favorite kind of dog. Okay, and then, oh yes, B side is just some envelopes and letters, but it's a nice background paper. We've got this one, which is all cards. B side of paper is just a nice graph kind of look to it, graph paper. But yeah, it matches, it's a really nice background paper. And then it also came with two sets of die cuts. So I'm gonna separate, I have these separated with a solid sheet because they are just put in there. They're very easy to pop out. They're just pop outs, but yeah, look at all those critters. Now, I noticed that if you cut it was kind of a finagled way of cutting, but if you cut this halfway, you can get one of each animal on each side facing a different direction. And then you can get half of these little elements as well. So you could kind of split this in half. And then the other die cut are these shapes, and this can also be kind of split in half. You've got duplicates of the same. So you've got two green buildings, you've got two red buildings, you've got two with the awning on them, with red awning and a red door. You've got two with green awning and a blue door. So it kind of was able to be split in half. Two pink trucks, two blue trucks, two green trucks. It's all over the place, but you can kind of split these in half. So they're great for splitting up for a class if you want it, or if you were looking to make duplicates of something. So splitting half your cardstock in half. There's our other sheet of critters. So this is going to give you your big bear, which you can die cut out. And it's also going to give you your badger, which is another one you can cut out. You've got some owls. We've got some bunny rabbits, some squirrels. I mean, it was just too cute. I could not. Look at the little hedgehog. I mean, the little hedgehog. So cute. I couldn't help myself. Then we've got one of the pieces of paper that we're going to use in our card today. This is going to be our snow line area. And then we've got here buildings. Now, if you cut these into strips along here, you can get a lot of scenes to make your card stacks that I've made today. Then the other side is mailboxes. Now, these green mailboxes here with the candy cane edge here and the red mailboxes with the candy cane edge can also be die cut out because they are similar in size. They're great in size to this mailbox here that you can stamp. So you can see here, these all are able to be cut out with a die cut. So anything in the paper that kind of matches these ones exactly can be die cut as well. So let's put that paper aside. Let's get started on our card here. And then at the end, I'll bring in a couple more examples of how you can use this set. Okay, let's get moving. Oh, another thing that I pulled in today that is not totally required, but it does add to the design, is I pulled in the Perennial postage just because this is a postage style thing. We're using the mailbox, so I pulled these in. And these are great shapes to use for cards, so not a bad investment to get yourself these. They're great for layering. Yeah, so we pulled those in today too. Okay, let's start off with pulling out of our paper here. So I'm just going to pull this to the side here so you can kind of see what we're working with. We've got our piece of Pool Party, which is 4 1/4 by 11. We're going to fold that in half and use our bone folder. And we're going to make our card base. Let's just make that right away. Okay. Then we've got a couple of pieces of, now what color was this again? This is Poppy Parade. It's like an orangey red, not a deep red. So it's a brighter red. We've got 2 pieces. They're the same size. We are at 4 5/8 by 3 3/8. That's so that we create this outside border here. Okay. We've got 2 pieces that are going to be cut with the Perennial postage. So they're larger than this. When you cut them down, they're going to be more this size. So I will remeasure them if you don't want to use the Perennial postage, just so you can get your proper matting. So these are 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. But again, we're going to die cut these. Okay, we got a piece to stamp our critters with. I've grabbed a piece that's 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, but they could be any size that you could fit your critter on herewith. Then we've got a piece for our scene at the bottom here that's going to be our paw scene. So this piece is going to be 3 inches by by 1 3/4, 3 inches by 1 3/4 inches. Okay, that's going to be for our paw prints. Then we've got a piece of white, just a white scrap, 2 1/4 by 1 inch. This is also going to be die cut with a Perennial postage, so it will be a different size when we're done, but I've just left it that way so it can be stamped nicely. We've got our designer series paper. This is that little piece of blue I told you about. Okay, kind of the snow scene. This piece is cut 3 inches by 1 inch, and it is, you can get a ton of these out of 1 sheet of paper, right? We'll put that up high because we're not going to be using that until we're done our die cuts. Okay, then we've got a piece with a scene on it. Now I've chosen this scene, but you can cut several of these as well. This is 3 inches wide by 1 1/2 inches. That's going to be our second piece. And then we've got a piece of green here. I'm just pulling these pre-cut pieces here. Piece of green that is 2 inches by 7/8 of an inch. And that's going to be matting for our special delivery piece. Okay, let's get started on some stamping now. Move on to some stamping. So we're going to grab our Memento ink and we're going to choose our critter and our mailbox. So today I'm going to do the dog. I'm going to pull out the dog here. That's our mailbox. And we're going to do our dog. So we're going to stamp our dog. Just want to make sure I got good ink on this. One dog. As you can see, I grabbed a large piece, right? So, but we've got one dog and we've got one mailbox. these, like I said, these are going to be die cut out once we're done coloring. Okay. Next up, we're going to pull in all of our Stamping Blends markers. So I've got a few colors here, as well as I've got a color lifter. I probably won't need the color lifter, but it is another way to pull back and get some more blending in. So first of all, with the kitty here, I colored the kitty with light crumb cake to make almost like a calico marking. Today I'm going to do the same thing with my dog with crumb cake colors, but I'm just going to do his paws and his face. I'm not going to make him have calico markings because he's got a really nice sweater going on. So we would take our crumb cake light, and I'm just going to color the tips of his feet with this light crumb cake color. And you can see I'm going quite a ways up, and the beauty thing is I'm going to be able to blend that out, so I'm not concerned about it. This little foot's going to be one color. These little toes are going to be the light crumb cake. Then I'm going to do this, his snout here. And maybe let's go around the edge of his ear here. And we'll do the tip of his tail. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the dark crumb cake. And I'm going to use the bullet tip again, not the brush tip. To each their own. If you want to use the brush tip, you can. So then I'm going to blend in to that light color. And I'm going to color his little body. With my darker crumb cake here. I'm just always using like a light. I feel like the color, I feel like it bleeds in really easily, so I'm very light with what I'm doing. And I'm just coloring the pieces that I need to color here. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to grab my light crumb cake again. I'm going to grab my bullet tip and I'm going to kind of blend it. So I'm going to go over the area that it's meeting up, and I'm just adding some more light to that blended area, or to that line, and it's going to blend the two together. It looks really nice, like it blends those two edges together, so it's not such a solid line anymore. It's nice and blended together now. Okay. Next up, I'm going to grab my Poppy Parade, and I think I'm going to use my Poppy Parade Dark. You could also use Real Red if you want. It is in the design, the Real Red. It's more on the buildings and stuff, but I'm just going to grab the Poppy Parade Dark. Whoa, I got the light here, I think. This is Poppy Parade Light. I want to use Poppy Parade Dark. I'm actually going to use the brush tip this time because I'm covering a larger area. So I'm just going to use my Poppy Parade Dark here and color his little sweater that he's wearing outside. Because of course it's cold. We just started getting cold here in the Okanagan. I don't know if anybody else has got cold weather, but ours is just starting. Normally, well, at least for the last few years, we've gotten snow on Halloween. But this year, we're almost into November, or sorry, we're almost into December, and we've just barely touched on snow. So it's kind of surprising for all of us. Now I'm going to use my, oh, I guess I didn't have my lid clicked on. Oh no, it's just the edging there. You want to make sure with these Stampin' Up! Blends that you make sure your lids go on really tight, because they're alcohol-based markers. They will fire off. So the alcohol will come out of them and then they will dry up on you. So you do want to make sure you put your lids on real good and tight. So then I'm going to do my mailbox. I'm going to use my brush tip again. And I'm going to use my dark. This is my light, this is my dark. I'm going to use my dark to color the outside of my mailbox. Like the regular part of the mailbox. So I'm just coloring away here. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I find coloring to be relaxing. And then if I don't get it just the way I like it, I don't find it relaxing. You know, like if I color outside the lines, like I'm not doing a good job at school. If I color outside the lines a bit, I feel like it's not as relaxing. I have always liked fussy cutting though. Fussy cutting is very therapeutic for moi. Okay, and then we've got our light pool party, and I'm going to use that to color in the big square here, the light one. So I'm just going to color this away. These blends are great because they don't show any lines. When you're done, it all blends itself together. So no lines show in your project. Okay, then I'm going to take that Poppy Parade Dark again. I think, let me just see. Poppy Parade Dark. And let's see what Poppy Parade Light looks like. I don't really see a lot of that in the design, so I'm going to stick with the dark one, Poppy Parade Dark. And I'm going to make the mailbox edges that dark color. Very quietly. Sometimes I can't color without sticking out my tongue. Anybody else do that? Gotta stick out my tongue. If you could only see my face. Then I'm going to take my Crumb Cake Light and I'm just going to color the actual envelope. Could be a white envelope, but I'm going to make my envelope a little more manila envelope. Okay, and then, you know what? I'm just going to mess around. Why not? I'm just going to take my color lifter and I'm just going to draw lines across the edge of my mailbox here. I just want to see if my color lifter will make it look a little bit candy cane-ish. It might not, but we'll see as we go. Might not be, I might be asking a little too much of my alcohol marker. Oh yes, and then I was going to do his envelope in his mouth. I was going to do that with Crumb Cake as well. And then I was going to grab just any old black marker or black pen, and I want to color his nose black. So we'll just take our little black marker here, and I'm just going to color in the tip of his nose. Because I don't have a black blends marker. I think we have one, but I just don't have it. So I'll just use that black marker. Okay, next up, I'm going to take my paws. And because he's going this way, at least this is what the ladies told me. They said, well, my paws don't match my critter in the direction he's going. And I said, well, it's a busy mailbox. Could be more than one critter's footprints, but I acknowledge that there's that feeling that you want it to go all in the same direction. So I'm going to grab my Crumb Cake. And I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper here because I'm going to go off the edges. So I'm going to grab my Crumb Cake, and in the horizontal position on the paper, I'm going to have my little critter prints walking across the snow. I'm going to start on the top left-hand side, and I'm just going to have little paw prints walking in the snow. Across my snow path here. And even if it's not the right direction, or what you think is the right direction, it'll still look like a critter's been walking around that mailbox. So I stamped that in Crumb Cake with the little paw prints that are in the stamp set. And then I've got my special delivery stamp, and I'm going to stamp that in Garden Green on my smallest piece here. And that is just, I've given lots of extra room for it, so it's just stamped willy-nilly in there. Just get it in the center. There we go. Special delivery. Okay. Now that we've done all of our stamping, I'll put those over to get washed in the washing station. And next up, we're going to do some die cutting. Put that away. We'll pull in our little die cut machine here. I've got my mini Stampin' Boss, mini boss, cut and emboss machine. And we're doing our die cuts today. So out of all your little plates, you're going to need your number 1 plate and 2 number 2 plates. We're going to place them inside of our die cut machine here. And then we're going to grab our die cuts out of our set here. So today we have a puppy dog right there. And we have a mailbox. But as you can see, there's the badger, the bear. You can cut some envelopes. This is for the presents. And then we've got our kitty cat on this one, and our paws, and a circle. So we've got quite a few in here. When they can fit them inside the pieces, they always try to do that so they can get more in the package. And then we're also going to grab those Perennial postage ones, because these are going to make for some fun things. So I'm also going to grab this one. Now this is just an embossing die cut. So it doesn't really cut anything, but it embosses this really cool piece. So I'm going to use that on the inside of my card. And then we've got this little piece here that's going to cut my special delivery. And the one we use to cut all of our pieces is this one here. I'm sure of it. It's the second largest. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So we will die cut with those. And I'm going to start off by just die cutting these inside and outside pieces. So let's do those. Those should be pretty quick. We're just doing 2 here. 1, 2. I hope this machine's big enough for this one. Oh yeah, it should be just big enough. So we're just centering that on there. I'm not going to use a Post-it note. I know I'm going to make it. I've got that sliver of room there. So I'm just going to lay that down. Now how we use this machine is we kind of pinch our paper in there. You can use a Post-it note to keep your die cut adhered. And then once you see this dance, you know that it has grabbed on to all these plates, right? It's ready to push them through. So we're going to push through, grab this, and we're going to roll it all the way through. Now this is going to shake the camera a little bit. This is going to happen every time I die cut, because my desk and my die cut machine are doing the same. So my video camera is on my desk. Okay, so then we've got one. See, that's such a cool shape, right? So it is kind of a fun add-on for this one. I couldn't help it. I know it's bringing in another die cut, but I just had to do it. Okay. Then we're gonna lay down our second one there. Place that in and run that one through. There is number 2. Okay. And it's a Skookum machine, so it's real tight. It wants to do a good job, so it is prepped and ready to go, that die cut machine. Okay. So we've got that one in there. There's our second one. Now I'm going to show you what this other one does. Stampin' House has very few of these cool little pieces, but I think they're pretty cool. Now whenever I write the person's name there, write the letter in the middle, and then I sign on the right. So I'm going to put this little piece on the left-hand side. Okay, and then we're going to run this through the die cut machine, and you will see what I mean by it doesn't die cut. It doesn't cut through it, but it leaves this cool little stamp. Now, can you see that on an angle maybe? It just leaves a cool little, like it's gone through the postage, like it's gone through the mail. Very cool. Okay, so then I know that's my inside one. Next up, we're going to do our special delivery. And like I said, cool tip, grab a low tack Post-it note. And once you get your die cut in the way you want, also another thing you can do is put it a little off center, then you won't get that thunk in your die cut machine. So nice and centered with this little die here. We're gonna lay our post-it note. And you know, I could probably, yeah, because it's such a big sheet, I can't really squeak it in. So we'll do our special delivery. And we'll run that through. And then that just runs through real nice. You don't get that clunk clunk. Anything with a straight edge will kind of give you a clunk. It doesn't mean it's breaking the machine. The machine will still work, but sometimes you get like a nice a cleaner cut when you do on the angle like that. Okay. Next up, we've got our little critter and the mailbox. And then that will be it. That will be it. No more die cutting. Although this is worth it. The die cutting, even though it's a bit to watch, it is worth it because you are not fussy cutting these babies out. Fussy cutting takes a lot of time. It's very therapeutic for some people, but it does take time. Okay, so I'm just loving these post-it notes. Well, when they work, apparently not on my puppy today. Okay, let's do this again. I have been tricked by this post-it note problem before. Guess I'm just not making the contact with the sticky part in the right spot. Okay, so we've got my critter, I've got my mailbox, create my sandwich, pinch, push it in till she dances, and then we're off to the races. Okay, now all that fussy did is done. So we can put this away now. We are done with our die cutting for today. Push out the mailbox, 1. Puppy dog, 1. Put those plates away. Put that aside. Okay. Now I think we can go to assembling our card. So we're going to take our pieces here. We know we've got one for the inside. So we're going to attach this and this together. So 1 matting and 1 piece. I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to place some Stampin' Seal on there. And we're going to get our inside piece done. Nice and centered. Line that up. Great. That's going to go inside my card. Okay. So then I'm going to pull in this one. I don't know what I did there, but I got some cook on it. It's fine. It's going to be covered. Must have squeezed it between some adhesive or something. And some Stampin' Seal. I'm putting a lot on there. I know. Probably could be a little more frugal with it, but that's okay. I want it to stick. If I'm taking the time to make something like this, I want it to stick. Okay, so now we've got our little backdrop for our scene here. So we're going to start from the bottom and we're going to put on our little paw prints. Now, if you lay these on the card, kind of first, I'll flip that one over and just lay it on so I can get some spacing here. This one's going to be lined up at the top. Then we're going to line this one up second piece. And then we're going to line this one up third piece. I kind of want to get an even border. So if I'm a little tight to the top or the bottom, then I know I'm good. Okay. I know that this is going to sit quite nicely, kind of about a 1/16 of an inch off that bottom. That's going to make it pretty even. So there we go. Oh, and look at that. I put my paw prints on the wrong way. Even though I said I wanted him to go this way, I flipped it upside down. Nobody's going to know. They're never going to know. I mean, I don't mind. I feel like it's a busy mailbox, like I said earlier. There's more than one critter coming to this mailbox to drop off the mail. I know I've got 4 I can die cut with. Could be a badger, could be a bear, dog, cat. If you go fussy cutting, it could be an owl, a hedgehog, a mouse, send a mail. Okay, and then the next one we're going to put on is this snowy scene up at the top here. Okay, so naturally I would probably put those on next, but I'm actually going to start wrapping my twine. So I have 2 pieces of twine with me. Where did I put my twine? We've got one piece that's about 8 inches and one piece about 12 inches. And this is the red and white twine, okay? Now, I've already taken my 8-inch piece and I've already tied a bow with it, okay? We're gonna take this twine, grab a couple of glue dots, and right where the two pieces meet, we're gonna put a glue dot in the back here. Or you can do your tear and tape sandwich if you want. I'm just gonna use a glue dot because I know this piece is going down. So I've got my glue dot, I've got my seam of where those two meet. I'm just gonna place my glue dot. Oh, sorry, I did that off camera. I'm just gonna place my glue dot right at the seam. So right where I can see the seam coming around, kind of just put one on the back. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna grab my glue dot and right behind where I know those two lines are, I'm just gonna place my glue dot on the back right there. Okay. Alrighty, now I'm gonna take that 12-inch piece of twine and I'm gonna attach it on the back. Then I'm gonna wrap it around once, right at that seam line, and wrap it around again. And I kind of want it to have like this crossed over look. And then I'm gonna attach it to that glue dot in the back. Those are nice and secure now, okay? So I've got a nice little crossover design here on my paper. I'm just separating it. And then I'll probably go like this, place a glue dot on the front behind my bow. Okay, so we're gonna grab our bow, and how I do a bow is I just take those glue dots again, and I place the bow onto the glue dot rather than trying to put the glue dot on the paper this time. Place the bow on the glue dot, press it in, and then I squeeze it off, kind of pinch it off. Then I'm gonna take my finger, run it through, and right where the 2 points cross, I'm just gonna place that bow right in that area there. So it's kind of going off the side here. I'm gonna take some more of my Stampin' Seal here, place it on my special delivery piece. We're gonna attach the special delivery to my piece of green matting. Now this, when I die cut it, if you don't have the specialty dies, it ended up being 3/4 by 2 7/8. That's how big it ended up being. So you could do just a plain white piece and mat it with the green. Okay, then we're gonna pull in some dimensionals. Okay, and I'm gonna place dimensionals on this. Now I don't want to place them where the twine is, because then it kind of gets tippy. So I'm gonna put 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top, and then the twine's gonna kind of lay in the middle, just so I don't get that tippiness to it. So we've got 1 on the bottom, 1 on the bottom, and 1 in the middle top here. I use my take your pick tool just because I love it. I just take those backings right off by poke and pull, poke and pull. Okay, so then placing this centered on the card. I should have put my bow on after, but I'm gonna keep it the way it is and kind of put it over the edge here. Maybe I'll pull it off and put it further over. There we go. There we go. So there's my bow. Special delivery in the center there. Then I'm going to take some more dimensionals and I'm going to put them on the back of my little critter here. My little critter who's walking backwards. After I said all that stuff, right? I just end up with a backwards walking critter anyway. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just backwards sometimes. And then I'm going to grab this piece here, my mailbox, and I'm going to place 3 dimensionals on there. Now, the reason why I do 3 is because it makes it nice and steady. 3 points on. I remember when I was learning rock climbing, they always said keep 3 points on. 1 arm, 2 legs, or 2 arms, 1 leg. Either way you look at it, you got to keep 3 points on. So then I'm going to place this mailbox here. It didn't really do the effect I thought it would, but it still looks pretty good. Like the effect I thought it would candy cane the edges. Didn't work out the way I thought. It's all right. It looks just fine. So then I'm going to put my little doggy on there. So there, I've created this little scene. I did this with designer series paper, and I can still use designer series paper for the critter. I'll show you in a minute what that would look like. And I was able to make this cool scene out of paper, and a couple of little stamps. Just think all the things you can make with some paper and a couple of stamps. Okay, I'm putting stamp and seal on the back of this, and then I'm going to adhere this directly to my card front. Nice and centered on my card front here. We'll place that on. There we go. And then I'm going to adhere this one on the inside into as well. And yeah, after seeing the designer series paper, you can just see like how many things you could do with this set. Those little critters are just too cute. I know. Enough already, Kim. Too much about the critters. Okay, so there is our little card for today. So this is the puppy dog version, and then we have a kitty cat version. There we go, and that one was colored with the real red instead of the Poppy Parade. But yeah, these are super cute. But let me just show you the ones you can do with cutting the designer series paper. So I'm going to pull in. This is our puppy, but with the designer series paper cutout one. And then this is a mailbox cutout from the designer series paper. I've got a little piece of paper there. Okay, so then there's one. And that one was done with real red matting instead of Poppy Parade. Then I've got this one, which was done with the bear cutout. So that's really cute, right? The little bear. So we've got those two. We've got these two. Right? Then I decided that the little trucks were super cute, so I made this one, and they're delivering presents. So Merry Christmas and Happy Wishes. Put a little gift card in there, and I made a little slider card. So when you pull it out, it's like, woo, that truck's going fast. So that was fun. Then I've got a hot chocolate. So I found this Village Gourmet Village hot chocolate, which is literally a mailbox. I don't know how that happened, but it's like the same mailbox pieces like we have here. It looks so similar. The blue is a little bit different, but like that was just too cute. And then shove a candy cane in there. They can stir their hot chocolate with a candy cane. And then I did some fussy cutting of this little critter here. Added one of the mailboxes, some envelopes. And yeah, it's like a little hot chocolate holder. And then you can put your gift card in the side here. And then you can write your letter inside. So I thought that was a pretty fun add-on. And then here is the last thing I made. I decided that I really love those cutouts. And I took some of the cutouts from the catalog, or from inside the paper. I think I took the owl here, got the mailbox, fussy cut the St. Bernard dog, and then I basically did the same thing I did on the card, right? But I added it inside of a little handmade frame, and then put the delivery truck drivers on the bottom. So that was another fun way to create with this set, was to make a little shadow box. So as you can see, you can do a lot of stuff with this set. And you can just keep going with all those pre-cuts and all those things. Stampin' Up! Has done a lot of little die cut pieces in a lot of their paper packs. And it's just opening up whole new ways that you can use the stamps, the paper packs and the stamp sets. Yeah, and the die cuts. So it's just, yeah, it just keeps getting better and better. So I hope this inspires you. I hope you had fun watching and listening to my chitter chatter. Thank you so much again, and Merry Christmas, and we will see you next time. Talk to you later. Bye.